potent advice, and inspiration from real self-made millionaires. Welcome to The Eventual Millionaire with your host, Jaime Masters.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to prepare for a brand new website. We're not talking about who to hire at this point. We're going to talk about what you need to do beforehand, because I've actually had tons of my clients fire their web designers because it was so bad. I come from the tech world. You guys know that I'm such a geek, and I know what makes a good site and what makes a crappy site. And most of the time, when we're looking at designers and having somebody actually redo our website, there are coders that just know code, don't know design. We don't want those. There are designers that understand that piece, might even be able to write code, but don't know anything about conversions. And then there's the one that has all three. Even if somebody has all three, you still need to do all of these steps that I'm going to give you in advance, because they won't be able to deliver you what you need to have delivered if you don't have these pieces. Okay? So, ready? So one of the things that I want to say first is, I think it was the Missouri Science Department, University of Missouri, says that it takes 0.2 seconds for somebody to make an impression, whether it's yay or nay, about your website. 0.2 seconds. So 0.2 of a second, they look at it, they're like, meh, right? We are fast people on the internet. Yet it takes 2.6 seconds, they say, for somebody to actually engage with a relevant piece of your site. So all of these steps that I'm doing is really going to help you, so that way the person that's coming to your site really understands that this site is for them and that they really, really want to engage with it, and they have a really good first impression, and they actually take action, because that's kind of the whole point. Okay, so step number one, this is especially important if you already have a site. If this is a brand new site, you don't have to do step number one, but I want you to do a content audit. Okay, what that means is I want you to take the pieces of your specific site, what is the content on it, and organize it in a fashion. So I will definitely give you a link. One of the guys in my mastermind group, his name is Todd Tressiter from financialmentor.com. He actually did an interview with Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income about his content audit. He actually removed a lot of his content, and it went way up in SEO rank for the content that he actually left there. So I'm going to link to that interview. So that's the beginning pieces. It is definitely a process. At the beginning, all I'm looking for you to have, though, you can go to the depths of that if you want. That's okay if you don't. What I want you to do is just organize it so you know what you have and what you still need and how to present it as a new website. Because we have a tendency as content creators to just create content and sort of not really figure out the whole piece of where it fits. So when we were doing mine, I went through and I was like, okay, we have millionaire interviews, but we also have posts, but we don't have very many posts. We really need a lot more posts. So when we went through, we were like, okay, what do people like the most? What are, if I were coming to the website, what would I want first? What do I want to know? How do I want this organized so people can read it really, really well? That way you can really start figuring out what pages you're going to have. Are you going to have a start here page that really sort of shows just the beginning things that you necessarily need? Or are you going to have, like what we have in the start here page, different sections for different types of people? That stuff's really important to know in advance, because your web designer might not ask you those questions. So if you present them, this is what it looks like, they'll be able to more easily go, oh, you know what we could do? We could organize it like this, and it would be really easy. So that's step number one. Okay. Step number two is to interview your customers. Actually hop on the phone with them. You can also put like a little chat box on your website, but ideally we want to actually hear the intonation in their voice. And we want to ask them where they came from. You can, of course, look at your analytics for this also, but we want to get in the mindset of the person that is just coming to your site for the first time ever. So if it's usually through SEO, what do they care about most? Most likely the keyword that they typed in, all right? So when they're getting to the site, we want to make sure it's extremely relevant. If they're coming from a referral from someone else, if they're coming from a podcast, it's going to be very, very different for how they're looking to consume their information, right? A podcast listener will come in and most likely want more audio, or potentially to download a bunch of other things that they can listen to later. So when you're looking at why did they come to your site, maybe they came just to buy a specific product. You need to know why they are there and where they came from. and also what their intention is. So when you talk to them on the phone, we want to make sure that they can get their desired result as quick as humanly possible without any friction. So if it is to come somewhere to buy something, you don't want to have 17,000 pop-ups, because if they do, they're just going to get distracted and they're not going to buy the thing that they want. Does that make sense? So what you're doing, I would highly suggest talking to 4 or 5 people on the phone for 15 or 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long time, but that way you understand exactly what their intention is with your site. Not only the new customers of people just finding you, but why do they come back? And what are they looking for when they come back? And that will help you determine how we should organize that content and what's most important to these people. Because you can think what's most important to them based on analytic numbers, but you want to actually talk to your customers, the people that actually will buy from you, not a bunch of random people coming through Google that doesn't actually buy. I have a lot of people look up Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and hops on my site, but they're looking for the game show. Not for me. And so therefore they're not looking to convert in any way, but it definitely shows me a whole bunch of analytics going to a bunch of pages that they don't actually convert from. So you want to talk to your actual customers and design your site specifically for them. Okay, step number 3 is I want you to find at least 3 sites that you love. Okay, so whether it just be the design and the look of it, whether it be the way that they organize their content, whatever those pieces are, it can be in a completely different industry, but you being able to show your designer, I like these, or even the colors, mood board type thing, I like these things. That will be really, really helpful in them determining how this goes. Now, for me, we were doing a whole brand audit. We did a new logo, we did a new everything, we did new colors. Not every new site is gonna be like that for certain, and the people that I worked with, venvio.com, they're amazing, and they really went through this whole piece. But they also, all of their websites start at least at 5 figures. So most of the people that are looking to do a new website aren't necessarily looking to spend tens of thousands of dollars for their site. That being said, you delivering this information to your designer will just help them be more efficient, effective, and actually get you the result that you want. Because a lot of the times you pay a lot of money and you're crossing your fingers and really hoping that it's a site that you want. All right, finally, and I do a lot of website reviews, especially for my group coaching program. And I ask these 3 specific questions. And actually, I want feedback from you guys to find out if you care about me doing website reviews on the podcast, because I love doing them. Again, geek. But I'm wondering if you guys want to submit your website, and maybe we can do like a every other week or a monthly website review, so you guys can learn about what's new and amazing and awesome and how we can change stuff. All right, so question number 1 in this website review, and this was me asking a group of people. So we would have a big group program, my group coaching program, and we would ask them, we'd pull up the website and we'd go, okay, let's answer these questions as a group and see if we can figure out these questions for this person. Number 1, what do they do? So you have a whole bunch of people, and you can do this on your own for your own website right now. But this is the reason why I'm highlighting it is because it has to be top priority for your new site. These questions have to be answered extremely quickly in order to make sure that people understand what your website is. So number 1, what do you do? What does this website do? Okay. Should be very, very apparent as to what you do. Okay, if you're a coach, say that you're a coach. If you're selling products, you need to say that, okay? And actually, I challenge you to do this to your website right now, because 9 times out of 10, and don't feel bad if these questions are horrible for you. They're horrible for most people in general. So question number 2, who is this for? So you guys know a lot about avatars. We've talked about that before, ideal customers, all that fun stuff, except we don't blatantly call it out on our websites. For me, I had to really keep refining the main copy of the page to say business owner, because when people come to Eventual Millionaire, they're assuming it's a financial site. It is not a financial, I mean, we do definitely talk about money, but it's about business and growing your business. And that is a disconnect. It shouldn't actually be that way. I just made it that way. What it should be is something really, really easy for people to understand who this site is for, especially if you have a specific niche. So if you're selling a product for hikers, then you have to say this type of products for hikers. So that way they can self-identify and realize that this site is for me within those 2 seconds. Okay. The third question, and this is to ask a group because you already know your website too much, you won't be able to do it, but what do you want to click on first? You need to decide what your main call to action is going to be. 9 times out of 10, you want it to be some sort of lead capture, right? E-commerce sites, stuff like that, are most likely going to be more product-based where they want to buy very quickly. But in general, if somebody's coming to your website, you of course want to either retarget them with Facebook ads or get an opt-in or have them take some sort of action where you can follow up with them. But what has a tendency to happen is that people want to click on the most random things. If you have a weirdo red button, or if you have a weirdo, I mean, we've had quite a few when we're doing these website reviews of people wanting to click things that aren't clickable. We need to know what that is, because if somebody's trying to click on something that's not clickable, you are most likely going to lose them and they're going to hate your website, because who wants to be like, oh, it's not working? Okay, so those are the top 3 questions that I want you to do. Then we can definitely talk about hiring the right type of web designer later, but either way, you having this information first to prep and then hand over lovingly to your web designer will love you as a human being because it makes their job so much easier. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know, because it was an amazing, crazy, fun process for us to do our website, but I've also helped so many other people deal with the same stuff, because especially if you have an online business, your website matters. And it took me a ridiculously long time to actually update mine, which shame on business coach Jaime for taking so long, but it changes everything. So thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you need anything at all, and have an amazing day. Bye.